everybody. Welcome to this week's Good Work Show. We're excited to be back with you.
As always, and we have a really great show for today. As you know, we like to believe that we always have a really great show. Some of them are greater than others.
I think it's a great show. You know, we've had quite a few foundations on here and founders of foundations, and this one is another foundation that was founded out of what ended up being a tragedy for the family, but they turned it into something great. And we've had that story a couple of times, but I love the opportunity to talk to those families and those members of families who are able to do that and take what, was something that, like I said, was a tragedy, but turn it into something great. And then now they're helping and inspiring so many others.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to Jimmy DeLoach, the founder of the Abbie DeLoach Foundation. And he's going to talk to us about, tell us a little bit about who Abbie was, and then just kind of what the impetus was for forming the foundation, and then the incredible impacts that they have been able to make through their work. So it's a great conversation that we had. And we also got a lunch invitation that I am totally willing to follow through on. So there's that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know what? Hey, I'm up for food all the time. So, yeah, so I think that sounds good.
That works for me. So, invite us to lunch. Apparently, that works.
Yes. Interestingly enough, too. I mean, people are starting to get back out. We had, it's been COVID and we've been away and socially distant. So, so lunch invitations are great, but we still gotta be careful, everybody. So just in case, even if you got this message and you invite us, it doesn't mean we're coming to all.
Doesn't mean we're coming.
Yes, still have to be safe, and everybody continue, like, wear your mask, wash your hands, like, all the things. Even though things are relaxing, that doesn't mean you should relax on your safety. So
right. That. So after this, we're going to hear from Jimmy DeLoach, and we hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did and learn a little something, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Well, welcome back to the Good Work Show, everybody. We are excited because this is going to be a great interview. I just know it. We're excited to have Jimmy DeLoach Jr., who is on with us today, and he's going to tell us all about the Abbie DeLoach Foundation. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I always look forward to sharing Abbie's story and trying to touch people's lives and just give them some type of hope, future, and direction.
Absolutely. So tell us about the foundation and your mission.
Well, the foundation was started in 2016 in April. It was 1 year after the actual accident. Just to give a summarization of the accident, there were 7 students who were completing their final rotation and driving on Interstate 16 back to the city of Savannah very early in the morning, around 5:30. And a distracted driver driving a semi-truck just plowed into the back end of several cars that were parked on 16 due to another wreck. Out of those 7, that we lost 5 young ladies, and one of those 5 was my daughter, Abbie. She was 21. So the foundation was based on her, I would say, desires and wills and personality. And so we started with that and had our first class in 2016 with 11 or 12 recipients. And from that, we reached out to many aspects throughout the world and throughout the United States.
It's always interesting to hear from folks who have started a foundation, and we get to ask people. It's always interesting to me to get to ask the why question. why the foundation? Why did you do this? Because, you know, a lot of people suffer loss and they figure out different ways to grieve and cope, but you took that and put it into purpose. So talk to us a little bit about why you decided to start the foundation.
All of us have a choice in life. You know, God built us that way to have free will. And that choice every day, especially right after the accident, I just had to make a choice, whether I was going to even get out of bed or whether I was going to eat, or just even take a shower. The aspects of grief, like a huge wave that takes a ship down. And once that weight and everything starts going down, it's almost next to impossible to stop until you bottom out. And after several months, I would say almost a year after just really bottoming to the bottom. And the only way that I knew that I could get out of this was make a choice and go up. And fortunately, I had a good support staff, people who loved me and loved Abbie, rallied around me, and we came up with a concept of what would be best to celebrate her life long term. Instead of being remembered as, you know, one of the nurses that got killed. And I heard that for a whole year. People walk up to you, I'm so sorry. And you're going, come on, man, let's don't bring that up. And sometimes, you know, they call it like ambushing. You would just drop to your knees. It's just a devastating pain, and it would catch your breath, catch you off guard. So that's when I decided, so we've got to do something positive. And so we started the foundation, and we have touched just unbelievable. It really has.
That's fantastic. And you said that it was the foundation was built off and sort of based off Abbie's interest in what she wanted to do. And so tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about, you know, what she believed in and what's so important, and how that now sort of translates into the work that the foundation is doing.
Right.
I'm sure she's just full of life and ideas and thoughts to help others, because she was a nurse in aspiring to be a nurse. I know that she probably had that spirit of helping others.
Yes, you know, all of us are wired a certain way. And you can't take a pen and make a pencil, but you can take a pencil and make it sharper.
Mm.
That's the way I looked at Abbie. She had a sense. She would play her younger sister as Anna. I call her Annie. She's finishing up her rotation to be a PA from Emory. So she's in the medical field also. And they would play together, and Abbie would wrap her up in gauze and Band-Aids and the cure her crawl. She'd run around red. And so, you know, both of them just had that compassion. And so both of them went to the medical field and have been blessed with a soft heart. But Abbie's competitiveness, you know, you eat 10 donuts, I'll eat 14. And I'm up there going, baby, you're going to get sick. Dad, I ate 14 donuts. That's all I know. Great, that's wonderful. You know, and some of the things that I might have done in college, she went into college, and you do this, I can do that. I'm up here, baby, well, be careful. Careful. And so she pushed the limit, you know, she pushed the envelope. And that's why she was a very competitive athlete and competitive in grades, and was just somebody who had a compassion for Christ, because she knew long-term what eternity was. So I think those are three aspects that we used in our foundation now to depict who Abbie really was: athletics, the academics, and I think it would be nursing. Three areas. And, you know, when I say academics, we talk more about providing a scholarship. And that concept I personally knew, because I coached with Coach Russell in 1984, 5, and 6. And we were fortunate enough to have 2 national championships in football. And it was all because of kids. Most of the kids that represented our student athletes were from little places in South Georgia, Nana, Georgia, Dallas, Georgia, Backwood, Georgia. I mean, places you never heard of. But to be able to take a kid out of those environments and expose him to a higher level of thinking or to a higher level of knowledge or just the overall concept of life and opportunity. I go back to the football games now and just the kids, and they got kids and they come up to you, coach, look, man, I want to tell you, I'd have never made it if it wouldn't been for ABC. And so, that they have changed their end game to where they were projected to go and what the community says, they just going to be such and such. No, they're not. 30 years later, they're in a position of life of being a leader in the community, a supportive dad, somebody who has so much credibility just because of that one scholarship that changed his life. And that's what Coach Russell's taught was, just give somebody an opportunity. And if they're really made of something, they will pay you dividends. I have seen that over the lifetime since 1984, and especially with this scholarships we provided, since the last 2016, I have seen people's lives change and their end game to where it's unbelievable the progress they've made in their life.
That's incredible. And it's always so encouraging to see, you to talk about that choice, that, whatever the day was that you woke up and said, okay, now we're going to move forward and we're going to make positive change out of this tragic situation. It's just a commendable thing. And, it's a hard thing to do, but you've been able to impact so many other people by that one choice that you and your family and the folks around you made that day, to have this positive impact. So I kind of want to give folks the numbers on this because when I say that there's a positive impact, people say that and it's just kind of fluffy, but you guys actually have real hardcore numbers about how you've been able to benefit people. And I want to make sure that we call that out because it's fantastic.
I think in any organization, numbers speak the loudest. You can pretty much about direction of a business, you back it up with numbers. If you go 11-0, you pretty much job security in football. If you go 0-11, you might want to get your resume up to date because somebody's going to be looking for you to have another opportunity. So numbers are very important. And we've tried to be good stewards with what we were given. And, being a person of faith, I have to look back in different lives and what lesson they taught, just like King Solomon, who said, look, everything monetarily is just chasing the wind. So foundation are not in a position to provide you maybe tangible items as much as we're trying to provide you a future and an eternity that says, if you take this opportunity, how can you bless and develop more people around you? And that's what we've done. We've given out over $1 million. If you would have told me in my life at age 20, we're going to give out $1 million. People look at me like, you must have lost your mind. And I, to a degree, you do lose your mind because the most important thing has been taken from me. And how do you put a value on a child's life? But the biggest question is, how do you put a value on your child's life? Is it worth, and there's a study that says so many breaths, so many days, you add a value to this, and it comes around like pennies per breath. But I promise you, you wouldn't take $10 billion for your child. I can tell you that. So we take the value of what was given us, and we have sponsored about 28 nurses, all of them that graduated, all of them are involved with the COVID. It was amazing to hear some of the stories that we heard from the people who were in the emergency room, on the front line administering shots, working a double shift because they were qualified and they were short-staffed. So those are real stories that the foundation has provided for. And then the student athletes, that you see on Saturdays, or they're on a basketball court, or they're representing the team in golf. you know, from Savannah State, from Georgia Southern, from the University of Georgia. And here locally with our different schools, we've sponsored at least 10 or 12 different programs. And it all goes back to athletics and the nursing and the foreign missions, in which we built a house over in India around $100,000. I went to India with our church, and they have got kids turning tricks with men just for food. Mm. My mind in those brothels going, what would I do if my 13-year-old kid was held in this room, probably about an 8x8, just to do sex favors so they have food? Mm. And it's so degrading over there. And that's why we work with Compassion Christian and an organization called Stepping Stone to give the women a chance to learn a skill, to provide for their family. And so they're not having to go out and be somebody who's in a brothel that's just physically and mentally abused. Mm-hmm. Those aspects there are tangible things that I know that I can sleep at night knowing that because I can't do it by myself. And if I didn't have Dana Whitfield, none of this would be possible. She has a vision, but mostly she's got a work ethic that's probably more than mine. So I just try to catch up with her when I can. So we've been blessed to have good people around us, and I'm very fortunate to be part of it.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you all have been doing some fantastic work. I love the numbers that you shared and the analogy that you put behind it with the impact that you're able and have been able to make. You've got a campaign that has been going in last month, sort of in April, that you had a distracted driving awareness campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about the Hands Free for Abbie campaign?
Yes, in 2018, the governor, he flew to the city of Statesboro. And unfortunately, there were 5 of the families represented along with the governor in the signing of distraction driving. Distracted driving has several different avenues. It's just not texting. I mean, it could be the radio, dealing with food, talking to your buddy beside you, fiddling with the radio. There are several ways of distracted driving. And listen, I'm just as guilty as anyone until it clicks in my mind that I've got to pay attention to what's happening in front of me. But we got together and Dana said, look, a lot of these people are coming out of this pandemic, in which we have been really closed-minded. And some of the stats given that 50% of the people are off the road just due to this. We said what we need to do is really get people focused before they get released back onto the road. You go up to Atlanta, my Lord, you hit 285. I just try to hang on to the asphalt because people are just blowing past you. You come from South Georgia, kind of laid back. Up in Atlanta, you think they're at Rockingham. I mean, these guys think they're on NASCAR. So you take that concept, and we said they're going to be just wide open. And so we said, okay, well, let's try this, see if we can get it out ahead of the curve and get people focused on distracted driving. And we're trying to reach 100,000 people by the end of April to take a pledge, and they can go to the website, www.abbiedeloach.com, and click on the Hands Free, and they will see the information that tells you about distracted driving and also how to sign up with a pledge for your local business. Because people are going to go and start traveling. Mm-hmm. And we've been trapped. And we're just trying to make sure that you don't receive that phone call that says, hey, by the way, your child was killed in an accident. So that's why we did that.
Absolutely. So you've given us so much great information. And so let folks know where they can go to do a couple of different things. Find out more information about Abbie, information about the organization, how they can support you, because I'm sure there's some folks out there that may want to strike a check or make a donation. So where can people go to do all of those things?
Well, we have 2 accesses you can go to. You can go to www.abbiedeloach, foundation.com, or go to Facebook, Abbie DeLoach page, Abbie DeLoach Foundation page, and click that, you'll see that. Now, when you go to the foundation page on the website, at the top of it, there's a donation that you can hit. So when you want to give about $200,000, just type that in and hit click, and I will respond to you. I will make sure I respond to you.
Elaine's going to do that in a cup just as soon as we're done. She's going to go do that donation. So don't worry about it.
That'll be good. That'll be very good. It does take money. Any organization that's successful, if they're successful, it does take a lot of resources. And we've been fortunately, very, very fortunate for people to take their hard-earned money that they use on their own children or their own needs and give it to somebody who they don't even know. And that's just something that, I can't explain it, but knowing that these people have come alongside the foundation and hit the donation page, it really, and I write each person back myself, just like it took me 4 weeks after the funeral, 8 hours a day, to handwrite notes because I knew how much it meant if it was me having to do this. And that's what the foundation is about. It's not about my child. It's making sure that your child is safe, because what is done for me is done. I can't change it, but maybe the foundation can change something that involves your children.
Jimmy, it's been a pleasure to chat with you, to learn about Abbie and her spirit and her willingness to just share and give to everybody, and how you and your family transformed that into something that is now giving back and even in some ways protecting to other people. So thank you so much for being on today's show. We really appreciate it. Everybody go to the Abbie DeLoach Foundation.com is the website, or you can go to Abbie DeLoach Foundation page on Facebook and make sure you make your donations, learn more about the programming there. If you're a nursing student or eligible for that, you may want to look into how you can take advantage of the scholarships there. And Jimmy, just thank you so much, for your spirit, for coming on the show, and of giving it of yourself and your family. We wish you all the best, and thank you so much for what you're doing.
Hey, one thing I need to do, I need to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom. I told her I would do that. Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
That is so great.
Thank you. If you need me, please give me a call.